Hello and welcome along to the TCM YouTube channel where we are continuing our 2023 county previews. And next up, I am reluctantly heading to the other side of the Pennines to preview Yorkshire's season ahead. Now, I promise I'll take off my Lancashire cap for the purposes of this and try not to be biased, but I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Isaac Mullins, who is a Yorkshire fan, and we're going to talk all things County Championship, Vitality Blast, and One Day Cup. But first, Isaac, how excited are you for the 2023 season to get started?
It should be very exciting playing in Division 2 with hopefully winning a lot of games and winning the league by the end of the season.
I like
That's the
that.
plan.
Very optimistic to start with.
Yeah.
Let's start by reflecting on last year then. Relegated from the county championship, knocked out in the Vitality Blast against the mighty Lancashire, and then fifth in Group B in the One Day Cup. Now you've had time to let it stew a bit and settle over the off-season. How do you reflect on your season last year?
It's always a bit up and down with Yorkshire because when we've got all our internationals, then it's going great. And then we lose them all, and it always just seems to fall off a cliff, especially as batting with the lack of batting depth to replace Root, Bresto, Brook, Milan, etc.
Yeah.
So I think we went into the first internationals. I think we were unbeaten, and by the end of the season, I don't think we won another game. Sort of thing. So that's usually how it goes for us.
You've talked there about the impact of England players. You've got a lot of England talent in your side. Harry Brook, Johnny Bairstow, Adil Rashid, David Milan, Joe Root, most importantly. When those players are with you, especially in the 2023 season, would you say you're almost unstoppable?
It does look that way. I think we give most Division 1 teams a game because with that batting should be able to put on 400 plus every time. And then the bowlers that we've got should easily be able to defend that. So you would like to call us almost unstoppable with all our players available.
Yeah, and that pains me to say. Let's look at then some off-season business you've been doing because you've been quite busy, few ins and a few outs. Let's start with the outs first, obviously. David Willey leaving you, and so is Tom Kohler Cadmore going to Northants and Somerset retrospectively. How big of an impact do you think that'll have on Yorkshire this season? Because these are big players who.
Well, David Willey was obviously very important as the captain of the T20 side, which will be a big miss. Batting and bowling was always good for a few quick runs and a lot of wickets, so that'll harm us. And Kohler Cadmore's the same. He sort of came into his own in the T20 last season with a few 50s. An important knock in the quarterfinal against Surrey and 100 against Somerset in the Championship. So there'll be big runs that we will be looking to replace.
But it's not all bad news. Of course, you've got Shan Masood coming in from Derbyshire. He scored 1,779 runs in Division 2 last season. He's an absolute gun player to have with you, and he's going to be your captain. What are your thoughts about him as a signing?
Yeah, it's a decent amount of runs to get into his side, isn't it? And he's got the international experience, so hopefully that should help his captaincy.
Yeah.
But he can always learn off Adam Lyth at the top of the order to help with his captaincy, with his batting. So I think it'll be a really good signing and he should complement the team quite well.
Absolutely. And Adam Lyth is someone who has been very strong for Yorkshire across the years. This season, he'll make 200 first-class appearances. He'll cross that threshold. How good is it to have experience like that in your side at the top of the order?
Yeah, it's always massive, especially when it's a local lad just down the road in Whitby. So he knows the club inside out and he's important for all our young batting coming through because we do have a lot of talent coming through the ranks at the moment.
Yeah, well, let's go on to that then. Talent coming through the ranks. You've got lots and lots of talent to choose from, really, including the likes of Will Luxton, Finley Bean, etc., etc. Do you think that helps give you an edge against some of the sides that may not have those people and players coming through the academy?
I think it is always helpful because when you're young like that, you just go out and bat. It should be fearless in theory. And when you've got a lot, you can just chop and change as it is whenever players get in and out of form. Can have a few games in the second team to get back into form. and hopefully if they do get into the first team, they're able to score big runs there.
Yeah, let's turn back to a few other signings. You've got a Leicestershire player joining your rank,
Yeah.
Ben Mike, all-rounder, and then Matt Milnes from Kent, a gun bowler, 140 first-class wickets to his name. What do you think about those two signings going into the season?
Well, we had Mike at the back end of the season for a few games on loan, and he did all right. His bowling could have been better, so hopefully he picks up a few tricks over the off season. And Matt Milnes will be massive to complement Code and Fisher, who are both obviously quite injury prone. It's actually is to say. So if we can rotate them three bowlers plus Thompson and the spinners, then we should have quite a strong bowling attack.
Absolutely. And you've touched on it there. Do you think your strong bowling attack is the most important thing for Yorkshire if they're going to challenge and going to win Division 2 and going to challenge in all three formats? Because that bowling attack on paper is pretty fast and pretty strong.
Yeah, it should do well in all three competitions, actually, because we should only lose Thompson and Fisher, I believe, to the 100. So Code, Bess, Milnes should be available for the One Day Cup as well. So in all three formats, they could be absolutely massive for us.
Yeah,
they did almost get us out of a lot of holes last year. Like when we'd hit low scores, we were almost able to defend them due to just how good the bowling was.
Yeah, almost, but not quite.
No, that went down.
Let's turn to batting then, because obviously, I mean, doing research for this, it seems like you've got a lot of bowlers to your armory, a lot of rotation you can have there. But batting wise, you seem quite light. Do you think that's going to be an issue for you going forward this season?
Probably across the course of the season, it will catch up to us. But if them young players can hit a few hundreds, especially George Hill, who now has had a couple of seasons to really get going, I think he could be massive for us this season. Finley Bean, who obviously hit 400 in a second team match, if he can just get a quarter of them runs in a few games, then he'll be fine. And then there's the experience of Tattersall, Live and Masood. So I think the batting has potential that it could be very good for us. We'll just have to see across the course of the season.
Yeah, so in the white ball side of things, I wonder out of the One Day Cup and the Vitality Blast. I mean, I'm just going from question to question here, but do you think which competition out of those two particularly do you think you're going to challenge more in this time? And do you think, obviously, finals day gutting? Do you think maybe you can get over the line in the Vitality Blast this time?
The Blast could be an interesting one because it's like I allude on it. I haven't really looked at the IPL schedule or the international, so it sort of depends when the games fall and what players we have. So if we can scrape through the group stages in whatever way possible and make it to final day, I think we've got a good enough group to win on final day. Obviously, Lancashire's batting last year was just quite good. Not that I've watched it.
It was until we got to the final, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
And then we bottled it. But no,
I was going to say not because I've watched it back because I was playing that day. So I watched his bowl. I watched his bat, sorry. Jordan Thompson did incredibly. And then by the time I got off the field playing, I just saw you chase it down with 2 overs left. And I thought, I'm not watching the highlights back.
I was, yeah. And safe to say that was the highlight of the day. And then it just all got worse from there because Hampshire won, and nobody likes to see Hampshire win. We've talked a bit about batting and your lightness on that. Something that was flying around in the papers and around a couple of days ago was that you might be signing Australian Peter Handscomb for the championship and just before the Ashes to help you out. Do you think that would be a massive boost if that goes over the line? Of course, we don't have any confirmation of that.
I think any player with international experience should help you out. I'm not sure what his record's like in England as such because I haven't actually seen us being linked to him. So I completely missed that. But I think anyone that's got any international experience when you've got a young side is always a boost.
Always a boost. Right. Let's turn then to the player who you think people should be looking at, who people should be following, who is your one to watch, who you think is going to have a good year and a good season in 2023? Who have you picked
I'd
out?
have to say Jordan Thompson as our very own Ben Stokes, if you were comparing us to the England team. With bat and ball, he's capable of fifers, 50s, 100s, and basically could probably win us quite a few games on his own. So I'd have to say Jordan Thompson.
And
he's got a lot of experience now.
and
like last 2 years, he's been up and coming. Whatever.
Do you think he's going to be strong across all three of the formats? Obviously, the One Day Cup, but
yeah, he plays for London
across
Spirit,
red ball and white ball. Do you think he's going to be equally strong, or do you think?
Yeah, I think I don't know the official stats, but I'm sure he must have missed about one game at most last season. So he's obviously a very crucial part to the T20 and County Championship side, and it should be again this season.
Absolutely. Be interesting to see how that goes. Let's broaden it out a bit. Obviously, Yorkshire's gone through lots of turmoil and lots of times at the moment that have been tough for everyone involved. But Otis Gibson and Darren Gough have come in at a difficult time, and it feels like this season might be their chance. Do you feel like Yorkshire are rebuilding a bit in terms of how they're going about their business, and how do you reflect on Gough and Gibson's tenure so far in charge of the Yorkshire team?
I think obviously last season would have been difficult for anyone in the world to come in and try and steady the ship or whatever. So you definitely call last season the start of a rebuild. And I guess one of the things that makes a rebuild is what it is how many young players you've got coming through and how much potential there is there. So with the year of experience on all their players' backs, and this year could be a year, especially if we can win the league, get a lot of confidence into the youngsters, then it's definitely a year to progress. But yeah, I did like what Gibson and Gough did last season. I think they did a very good job.
Absolutely. Certainly be interesting to see how that develops. Let's turn back to other overseas players. You've got Namibian David Wiese, all-rounder for T20, and Neil Wagner as a New Zealander bowler to come into your side. In terms of overseas signings, how do you rate them? And how do you feel that they'll get on in this Yorkshire side?
I think Wagner is a very good signing, although I was a bit pessimistic when he was being bashed around by Brooke, Root and whoever in this last Test series. But he did show that he can take wickets across the innings, because he got at least one fifer, and I obviously took that winning wicket when we needed one to win. So he's obviously a very good bowler. He can bowl high pace and short as well to intimidate batsmen. And Wiese is just another experienced player in the T20 who can obviously very powerful batter. So he should be able to offer quite a bit to us there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you should be optimistic about Neil Wagner. He does have 246 international wickets.
It's not bad, is it?
From 59 tests, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he goes in terms of that. Right, time to pin you down then a bit now and lock in your predictions. You've touched on a few of them throughout this preview, but let's nail you down into it definitely, and start with the County Championship. Are Yorkshire getting straight promoted back up to Division 1?
I'm just going to say we're going to win the league, because if we don't, I think I will be very disappointed. So I'm going to go out and say we should be winning the league.
Fighting talk, and we'd like to see it. In terms of then the Vitality Blast, obviously we've again touched on the heartbreak there. We talked about finals day and how you think. Do you think you talked about getting out the group stage? Do you think that is a genuine worry if your players aren't available and you have to select people who maybe aren't in your first choices? Do you think you're going to have to do that?
Batting could be a bit of a worry, because I don't see many power hitters in the including our England players. I don't see many players that could go out and score maybe like a 50 off 20 or whatever. Bar Thompson, really. So Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but obviously we do have the bowling to cover it, and then I guess you just need one or two players to come off.
So then,
So
yeah, sorry, go
I'm
on.
gonna say if we're gonna predict somewhere, I'm gonna say the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinal.
Unless we play Surrey again, which of course will beat them because they're just not very good, are
I'm going to clip that up. I love that. Yeah, they're just not very good. I mean, it's a
No,
great way of putting it. And lots of money down there. That's what I've heard. No, they're going to
yeah,
kill me for this. I can't. Whoops. Oh well. One Day Cup. Finally, obviously, impacted the 100, losing a few players. Do you think you've got
mm.
a good enough team to challenge in that competition?
Yeah. I quite liked the One Day Cup last year because of the way we lost all our players, but it managed to mean we just picked a lot of Yorkshire-born players. I think there was one game where all 11 was from Yorkshire, so that's always nice. So I think it's a great chance for second teamers to play, and I think we've got a good second team with a lot of young talent. So yeah, I'm quite excited about the One Day Cup.
Do you think you'd make it to the knockout stages?
So yeah, I'm going to say yes this year.
Absolutely.
Experience of last year, go again.
Lots of optimism around. I'm liking it, and I'm sure
Yeah,
we'll come back to it at the end of the season. Isaac,
yeah.
thank you very much for joining us. Let's hope we've not
Thank you.
annoyed the Surrey fans too much. But that's life, really, isn't it? And that is all we've got time for on this preview. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed,
Thank you.
please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.